So let's start by defining who millennials are.
A lot of people seem to think that millennials are only in their 20s, and I see a lot of people on Facebook commenting against millennials, and they're most probably millennials themselves and they don't know it. So basically this age range is from 1980s to late 1990s or even 2000s are considered millennials. So it could be 22
to about 38.
To around 38, 37. So these guys are actually millennials, and these are the new generation.
Let's start by one of the biggest myths about millennials, laziness.
As soon as I was in college, I knew what I wanted to do. So I knew I wanted to be a writer. This is something I really wanted to do. I didn't want to go that conventional path because a writer is not exactly a safe job, but I wanted to make it happen somehow. So when I was in college, I wrote a book. And then after I passed out of college, I tried my best to get a marketing job. I first got an internship, and that internship got converted into a job. After around 2 or 3 years in that job, I am now a freelance content writer. Every day I'm learning, every day I'm working hard. And my book also might come out later this year.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So there are other people like me. It's not only me. There are people around me who are really passionate about things, who are really enthusiastic about things. And are trying to reach their goals and are not just lazy. You can't typecast an entire generation as lazy. That's what I feel. I feel it is a myth. I feel like maybe in some instances they're misguided, meaning they don't know how exactly to reach their goal, but they do have that passion that is necessary to reach that goal.
Do you think technology plays a huge role in the way it influences the millennials?
Yeah, and also how technology does play a role in influencing millennials and influencing others' perception about the millennials. So throughout generations, one generation has had problems with the next.
Correct.
They say, oh, how could they do that? And it's right now, oh, how could they do that? But that's like amplified all over the media, all over social media, all over the news.
Another thing I wanted to highlight was about the restlessness of millennials. Like the short-term goals sometimes that they have. Do you think that is set up for failure, or do you think that's something that could make them successful?
I don't think short-term goals are necessarily such a bad thing, as long as they have their end sight
correct
in mind. Like, what do they ultimately want to be? The thing with organizations these days is that there is a big gap in understanding and communication what these guys actually want. So the previous generations were more like, you're told what to do, and then you should just do that, and you have a path laid out for you. But the new generation, it's more about transparency. You want to know why you're doing it. Yeah. There has to be some sort of point. Of course, there is the monetary satisfaction. You're doing it for money, and lots of people in the world can't afford not to do it. But still, at the same time, there has to be, why are you doing it? And tell me and have a sit down with me and talk to me about why I'm doing it. And if those are not satisfactory and meeting with their end goals, then you have those things such as like job switches and, somewhere where they could find that fulfillment, While I don't completely agree that people should hop, after 6 months, 7 months. I feel like 2-year switches are okay. In this day and age, it's acceptable. It's not previous mindset, time where it's 20 years in the same job and you're rotting away in a really unhappy environment. I feel like that used to happen before because it was a taboo if you quit your job. But now people are trying to find that happiness in some way or other. I feel like 2-3 year job switches are fine, in my opinion.
Your advice to everyone who is critical about the millennials?
I hope that you guys can take a step back and think about how you were at that age, and if your parents approved of you or if they didn't approve of you, and maybe try and put yourself in this new generation's shoes.
You have a lot of compassion for the millennials.
Yes. I believe in them. I believe in the biggest positive in Generation Y, as they are also called as, is they are risk takers. They are, according to me, not shy of failing, first of all. I mean, you give them, like we in our generation, if I have to call I am very much risk averse. Our generation or my generation has been brought up, if you have seen, you do your graduation, you do your post graduation, get into a government job, and life is set. Or if you can't get into an IAS or Indian Foreign Services or any of the civil services or exams, you go into you do your MBA and get into a first class private firm, and that's how you grow on the corporate ladder. But when it comes to millennial, this fundamental doesn't work. If they can't find a job, they will create one for themselves. That's something which I am sold completely. I'm trying to adopt at this age their thought, strategy in terms of how they think into my work culture, bringing my 20 years of work experience and putting into practice how they would think, how new generation would think, and how can I better it. That's what is my overall goal. And with this initiative, I also started something like my own blog.
One of the criticisms that millennials face is that they can't make up their mind. They're constantly changing and getting bored. What is your take on that?
It's true in a way that their span of attention is very short. But if you see, that makes someone more creative. They refuse to follow a particular set norms or a path. They have this, they are, or rather born with this ability to question every status quo. Why things are done this way? Why cannot be done in a better way? Why should I only follow my parents or what their advice they have been doing it? I want to make my own stuff, create my own path. So this is in one way positive, that their curious or inquisitiveness to learn something new is makes them stand out. It's one of the unique qualities which I think so Generation Y has. They are constantly learning.
Millennials and jobs, they really don't go together. Most of them will join and leave, or will be looking to leave in the near future. What is your take on that?
Due to the short span of time, they can't focus for quite some longer time on a particular thing. The jobs, gone are the age, when we used to work 20 years and used to earn money. Even if we hate the job, then we used to look at our retirement fund. Oh, this money will help me live better. Millennials, they say, I don't want, khali wali sort of stuff. I want to live my life today. Yeah. I want to live in present rather than thinking, okay, let me save today and then let me safeguard my future when I don't know whether will I survive to see the future or not. They believe in living in the moment.
Your last advice to people who criticize millennials?
Don't criticize them. Use their energy, use their positivity, use their inquisitiveness to learn something new. Just support them with substantial backup that you bring with your experience, and you can create a new ecosystem. In US, there has been, I've been following a lot of serials which are, like Shark Tank series. Yeah. They bring entrepreneurs and the funding takes place. They have a mentorship. So our generation should act like a mentor. The people who criticize millennials should become their mentors and utilize their energy, their passion, their commitment to create a better business ecosystem for the entire world.
देखें, आप बस ऑनलाइन जाएं, वेबसाइट का नाम लिखें, ब्रांड के सारे प्रोडक्ट्स आ जाएंगे, एंड देन आप अपना फेवरेट प्रोडक्ट क्लिक करें, ऐड टू कार्ट, प्रोसीड टू चेकआउट, अपनी सारी डिटेल्स फिल करें, एंड डन।
सीखने की कोई उम्र नहीं होती। Mahmood 500 Rise, bringing families together since 1979.
I think that, look, the 9 to 6 construct is complete, nonsense. Okay, it's based on factory workers, that used to work in Ford's car factories. It is completely unnecessary. All studies show that 20% of the time, most of us are pretending to be working. Because we have expectations by our bosses that we should be working, even though we have nothing to do. And I'm like, okay, well, how is that a sensible thing to do? So I don't believe that. And there's the story of how when they delayed the times for school in England how the kids' IQ levels jumped 25%. Because I'm like, it is so unnatural for me to be awake at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm like, is there a 6 a.m.? I think that's a myth. Okay, I think my clock is just messing with me. So I didn't really understand why I need to be at work at an hour when nobody's going to be in their right mind to have a therapy session with me in the first place.
One of the things I think millennials do struggle with is dealing with finance. And I think at the moment there is a crisis, as you can tell. What is your advice to the young millennial?
You know what? It's really very simple. Use credit cards, make sure that you know what you're spending every dime of it. Okay, keep a record, keep good books. I honestly think that parents should teach kids how to function with money. And millennials are one of those people who are the tastemakers. They're the ones who push the economy. They're the ones who are the targeted demographic for most people. So yes, we want them to go out there and shop and decide what they like and what they don't like, but they have to have the money to back it up.
Oh, I did want to mention a few people, famous people who are millennials.
Very, very, very excited.
Why?
Once you get married and you get responsibilities, you can't afford to be lazy.
And what is